Okay. So we left you on this topic yesterday. We were discussing what? We were discussing business documents and now business measurement methods. What are the business measurement methods? These are the methods by which we see whether whatever we are going to do, is it feasible or it is not feasible. So we conduct cost-benefit analysis for that very purpose. Cost-benefit analysis is one of the tools by which we see whether the initiative we are getting into, is it going to cost more and give less benefits than it is not feasible. So the investment into that initiative must be less than the benefits we are going to reap out of it. There are many ways of doing these kinds of analysis. I will briefly show you what we can do. But first, let us see some basic methods. The first of all, you might have heard of something we call as a net profit. Net profit method. What is that? Although it is very rudimentary method, but this is one of the methods. And I would like to ask you if you understand what is a net profit method. Yes, please. Have you ever used the net profit method?
For me, I have not.
Okay, good. Let's
For me,
see.
only NPV.
Let's say if you are getting into a business, you are making an investment. That is, this is, for example, this is project one. The investment going into it in year zero, I mean, at the start of first year, is say $2,800. Now, $2,800 is investment, therefore, I'll show it as a minus figure. This is the investment going into it. After year one, you will be getting 1,000 years as a return. After another year, you will get $750 as a return. Third year, you are getting a positive 2,500 return. And at the end of fourth year, you are getting a positive 1,000 return. Now, looking at it, what do you think? What is your net profit?
So it's the sum of this, right? So meaning,
Sum of all.
yes.
So
So
because
around,
this is a negative figure, it will be subtracted. Rest everything is summed up. So this is 4,500 and 5,250
minus
and minus 2,800.
2,800. So that
So it will be
2,450.
$2,450 is your net profit. Do you agree with me? Well, this looks very
Yes.
nice, but this is not a very good method. Can you indicate why? Why is it not very good method? because you have considered all the amounts as equal, no matter if they are happening in future or they have happened in the past. Past and future cannot be the same.
Because there are other
Because,
factors like inflation, cost of capital.
like it is because it is the time value of money.
Yeah.
Money changes its value with time. What do you think? Will the time value of money be more of an amount in future or less for an amount in future?
So
I mean, if I ask you, what is the present value of the $1,000 you are getting in the fourth year? Will it
it's
be?
less.
It will be less. Very nice. Very nice. So, Arman, do you understand this?
Yeah.
Okay. Before I can get into the net present value, let us also talk about another thing, which is called payback period. This is another method. Payback period is you can look at these figures and you can tell me when you will recover your money, $2,800 you have invested, when they will be completely recovered. In
Five.
first year, you're getting $1,000 back.
5 years.
Second year, you're getting another 750. This is 1750. And third year, you are getting to 5,500. So that means in the beginning of third year somewhere, you are going to break even, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is payback period is at that time when your investment will be realized, right? So in this case, it is around 2.35 or something, 2.35 years. Uh, this this is taking like this much time. This is called payback period. Why should you use this method for cost benefit analysis? This looks good, but why should you use it? What is better if you get your money back earlier or later?
Sorry, I'm not sure if it's me, but can you repeat the question? So,
Okay, let me explain again. You have invested $2,800 on this project. You agree with me that you will be able to recover it from according to this schedule in the third year, right? So
yes.
it's almost 2.33 years. So in 2.33 years is my payback period because in after that whatever money is coming to me, that is a profit.
Mm. Mm.
Why I am more worried about when I can be breaking even.
Why are we worried about on
Why are
Breaking
we
even.
worried about being breaking even early?
I think we need to know that our project will reach out a break even point to see that well, by definition, at which part or at which year we
Okay,
can recover the investment that we have, right?
okay, okay. The basic problem is that if I have invested this money, it is not my own money. I have taken it as a loan. Then I'm paying interest on loan. I don't want to pay more interest because if I pay it in 4 years or 5 years, the
Yeah.
interest will increase. So if I am paying from a loan amount, I would always desire my project to finish as early as possible and break even as early as possible. So I would like to pick up that project which has got the least size of payback period. So that is good for me.
Or
Yes.
if I may add, right? So for example, the company has a lot of cash and you recover it at an earlier time, then it means that you have more cash flow to at least in your company
Actually,
because
I'm not really understanding anything. Maybe your voice
maybe
is too low.
I
Can you say again?
what okay. So I'm thinking if the company has cash,
Cash, yes.
so it's the same concept
Well,
because you need to
that
get
is
your
that.
cash
Yeah, yeah.
at an earlier time so that you
If
have cash flow.
if you have cash, then that is your own money, and you don't have to pay any interest on it. Then probably that is not a main factor of selection. Payback period may not be a very good option for you, but at least payback period tells you when you can break even. So at least you would know that after that time you are going to go in profit. Although this method is okay, but this is better if you have taken a loan. Got it?
Okay.
All right.
There is another concept which is called opportunity cost. This is not a method, but this is a concept. Have you heard about it? What is the opportunity cost? You make a choice and then you start thinking, what if I would have made the second best choice? What if I did not make the best choice, but the second best choice? You are trying to compare the opportunities, the best with the second best. So the worth of the second best option is called the opportunity cost, right? Let me put another project in front of you. Project number two. You are investing 3,000 in it and you are getting 1,500 and 500 and 500 and 1,000 and then 3,000. Right. So you see, which is a better option here? If I do it, that is 3,000. I'm breaking even at that point, but this is my profit. So this is more than the first project. Sorry. No, no, no. This is not more than 3,000 minus 3,000 is zero. I should have taken a better, some other option.
I think the
Maybe you
profit
are
is
investing
500.
4,000. You get back 1,000, then 3,000, then 2,000, 4,000, then 1,000. So we have got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 minus 4 is so and it is 6,000. So you see, this becomes my best option, and this becomes my second best option. So, what is the opportunity cost? 6,000 is my best option. this is 2,800. So 2,800 would be considered as opportunity cost. Understand? But remember, opportunity cost is only the cost of the second best option. You don't have to compare it with the third best option or the fourth best option, only the second best option.
Okay.
Are you with me on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us look at another thing, which is more sane, which is more appropriate. Rather, I would rather like to uh, show you another example. Okay. Let me first discuss return on investment, ROI. Now, ROI is not a very good method. I have already told you what I've told you about the net profit.
Mm-hmm.
I have told you about payback period.
Riba.
Now, ROI is very close to net profit, but it is better than that, slightly better than that. Net profit is a very approximate method. ROI puts some sense into it. So you remember what was the investment you have put in? You had put in $2,800. And over the 4 years, you have been receiving these amounts. I'm talking about project one, right? Tell me, what is your yearly profit for 4 years? Average yearly profit for these 4 years. Your total profit is 2,800.
So
Is it?
I just divided
No,
by
sorry.
4.
Your total profit is 2450. And it is to be earned in 4 years, right? So I have to divide it by 4. So if I divide it by 4, it comes out to be 20,
Around
2450 divided by 4.
612.5.
Yes. What is it?
612.5.
612.5. So this is my yearly profit. How much is it? And in percentage as compared to my investment.
We need a calculator.
So if I divide 612.5 by 2,800, that was the investment,
21.
21 point,
and
187.
multiply it by 100, it will be
or almost 22%.
22%. Are you sure?
Yes, Arman sent it already.
Okay. Say it is 22%. So your ROI of this project is 22%. What about the second project is giving no profit, nothing. About the fourth project, we are having how much? Our net profit is 6,000 divided by 4.
So
So
that's
it will
one
be around
five.
1,200. No, not 1,200. 1,500.
Yes.
1,500 divided by the total investment multiplied by 100, that comes out to be 50%. So average net profit, average yearly profit is 50% in the case of last project, and average yearly profit of first project is, as you calculated, around 22%. So which is better? Naturally, the last one. So you
The
see, if I compare it from the net profit point of view, project 3 stands winner. If I calculate it from the project, what do you call it, recovery point of view, that is the payback period, uh, this project is going to take again around the same time. So in payback period, both project 1 and 3 are the same, right?
Yep.
And in the net profit and as well as in ROI, this option 3, project 3 is the winner. So that's how we compare projects, or we do the cost benefit analysis of the project. Now, let me take you to the net present value method. That is the time value of money. Are you aware about this concept of time value of money or net present value?
Yes.
Good, good. Okay. So you see, let me first uh, work forward. Today, you have got some amount of money. Will this amount of money increase over time if I put it on interest in the bank? You have got $100,000. If you put it in the bank and they pay you 10% interest, the 100,000 will increase over time, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the forward calculation, and we have got many ways of doing it. One is called a simple interest. That means I will keep getting $10,000 every year. But there is another concept, and that is called composite interest, compounded interest, sorry, compounded interest. Can you differentiate between the simple interest and compounded interest?
So for the compounded interest, the base amount plus the interest, that
Yes,
will be the base the following
right.
month.
If you do not withdraw your money every year, those $10,000 you are getting as a yearly profit, you don't withdraw it, and you have booked this money on a compound interest basis, then your money will increase from one 100,000 to 110,000 after 1 year, and next year the interest will be given on 110,000, and that will not be again 10,000, that would be 11,000. So now you have, after 2 years, you have $121,000 in your bank. Again, if you do not withdraw any money out of it, you will get another 10% on top of that the next year. And this way, this is called compound interest. Now, this was the story of calculating the future value. What about my assumption that I will earn $1,000 after 4 years? What is the current worth of that $1,000 today? Naturally, you will agree with me that today the worth of those $1,000 would be less than the future will, isn't it? So just like I calculated forward in the case of present money moving towards future, now when I calculate it backwards from future money to the present value, I will have to apply another kind of rate, which is just like the interest rate, but when we travel backwards in time, we call it discount rate. So we will apply the discount rate, and that will give me the compounded effect, and that will tell me what is it worth today, right? If you understand that, let me clear up some space here as if I can write. Right. I hope you are having some concept of what I am saying.
So to clarify, based on your explanation, a if I'm in a bank, then I put my money, I get an interest, it's a compounded interest. Then when I have a project, if I talk about NPV, I put there all the cost and then the benefits, right, in terms of value.
Right.
Then there's a discount rate that we need to integrate as we compute the NPV because it changes through time.
Right.
In this case, the
Okay.
amount will be lesser, at least in terms of the benefit, right, versus the present value.
So, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. First, let me show you the formula for present value. Sorry, future value. Future value is equal to present value multiplied by the discount rate, naturally. Sorry, the interest rate. But that would be 1 plus interest rate divided by, not divided by, raised to the power number of years. Number of years. Now you calculate it. What will be your $100,000 if you put it today? What will be the compounded value after 4 years or 5 years? So that would be 100,000 multiplied by 1 plus interest rate is 10%. That means 10 by 100 raised to the power 5 years. So after 5 years, if you calculate this formula, you will get the exact future value, right? If you want, you can calculate it, but this is going to be your exact future value. Got it? But this is about the future value. But what we are interested in project management, when we are trying to conceive things into the future, and we don't really have that kind of money right now, so we will have another formula that present value is equal to future value, but it is not multiplied, it is divided by 1 plus. Now, rather than having the interest rate, we have
Discount.
a discount rate, we call it R. Uh, Sorry, this is one R raised to the power N. You got it? So, for example, my future value is 100,000. So my discount rate might be different from interest rate because uh, the state banks of the countries, they specify what will what will be the interest rate in this country and what will be the discount rate. They are different. But anyways, I'm assuming it to be 10%. So 10 by 100 raised to the power 5. If you calculate this formula, that will give you the present value. But if you want to calculate the future value, then this is the formula. Got that? You can note it down. This is interesting. But what happens is, I will just, because I have shown you the formulas, so I suppose I can explain the rest of the things easily. Okay. You can see this chart below. On the top row, it is showing me it was an investment of $1,200. In this project, we had an investment of $1,200, and this is the money we are getting after 1 year. This is the money we are getting after 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years. Yes. So, what do you see out of it? What is this is basically net profit, or you can call it net cash flow. This is going to be the net profit if you can sum it all up. So, what is your answer for that? What is the net profit of this project?
208.
1,800.
Yeah.
1,800, right?
Yes.
It will be 1,800, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
But this is only the net profit. What if we are trying to find the net present value? Then the investment remains the same because that doesn't change. But the money which is we are getting in the first year, when we apply the discount rate to that of 10%, it becomes uh,
64.
364. Why? Because after 1 year, the impact is 0.91. That means 400 multiplied by 0.91 is equal to 364. And for the second year, the impact is 0.83. So 800 multiplied by 0.83 is 664. So these are more realistic figures. If I add them, that will give me the net present value. This is after applying the formula I told you, or you can consult these discount factors. If you apply these, the advantage of having the discount factor is you simply can multiply that discount factor with the amount and you get the net present value, right? And you can find the discount factor chart in any book of maths or statistics or finances, accounting or anything. This chart is normally available. But anyways, I'm just showing you the figures for the 10%. The 10%, that is first year, the discount factor is 0.91, second year 0.83, and so on. So, can you calculate and tell me uh, from the net present, what is going to be the total net present value?
It's 1094.
How much?
1094. I put it in chat.
No, 5,000. Subtract 1,200 from it. This is not, this is a
No,
negative.
so it's a positive NPV. So it's 1,094 to Arman's point.
Yeah. 1094.
1,000 and?
94.
94, 1094.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see that when you calculate it from the net present value, the same project which was looking very attractive is no more attractive because actual worth of that project in present value is just 1,094, almost half of it. If not half, at least 80% down. So this is more realistic a method. Okay, if you have understood the net present value, there is one more method left to discuss for, and that is, I think, even better. The problem with net present value is that we are always comparing our business or our initiative or our project to to the bank rate. The question is, if you are investing in a new business, why should you consider the bank rate? Bank rate, the discount rate, or the interest rate, they are for running of banks. They are not for running of businesses. The only thing you can compare in a net present value is that, okay, I am getting too less or I am getting no profit at all. So if it is no profit, I would rather put this money in the bank and get more advantage out of it. That is the only consideration in doing the net present value. You know, when you deposit your money in the bank invests it elsewhere and they make a lot of profit. Whereas they give you just 10%, right? They invest in a business, they invest your money in the business, they give you only 10%, maybe they are earning 50, 60, or 80% profit, but they are just giving you 10%. That means if you are starting a business, why are you thinking so low? Why are you comparing it with 10% discount rate? So that means we should not use the bank rate and we should have some other method. And that method is called internal rate of return. I want to see the internal strength of my initiative. I don't want to compare it with any bank rates. What is the internal rate of my rate of returns for that project? So I will use the same method of net present value, but I will not use the discount rate as given by the bank. What will happen if I fluctuate the discount rate? You see, sometimes for some projects, this discount rate the net present value will come out to be positive, like in this case, 1094. And if you keep reducing the discount rate, I mean the percentage, it will be something like a negative value, which means it is not feasible. Maybe it is 2000 negative. That means this is not feasible. That means if on 5% you are having minus 2000 and at 10% you are having plus 1094, there must be a percentage in between where you will have break-even point. I mean, all the money you have invested into the project will all be recovered, right? So let us try to find that break-even point in net present value. So what I mean to say is, I am not going to use the discount rate from the bank, but I will put that as a X value. Discount rate, I'll put it as a X value. Now, you may have to do a lot of hit and trial. You try it with 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. You have to do all these calculations. And ultimately, you can home in to say it is 7.28% when you will have the exact zero value. That is my break-even point. So 7.28 is the percentage on which your project starts becoming fruitful. If I compare it with many projects, there is another project which is giving me 15% IRR. Another project is giving me 20% IRR. So whichever project is giving me maximum IRR, I will choose that. This method is called internal rate of return. All the calculations are similar to net present value, except for we do not use the discount rate. But we keep changing the discount rate and trying to find where our NPV becomes zero. right? Where our NPV becomes zero, that percentage is called IRR. I hope you got that. Any doubts about it? Why are you so silent today?
Nah, it's just new topics for me, so I'm trying to digest. So
Okay. Okay, moving ahead. If you are satisfied about it, I will move ahead. These were the different methods, right? Now I have some questions with you about these. Which three of the following are a financial based benefit measure methods? What do you say?
ABC.
Yes?
Ah, ABC.
ABC. Very good. Very good. Because I told you opportunity cost is not a method,
What?
it is a concept. Okay. The opportunity cost is defined as the value of a proposed project selected. Yea or nay?
No, false.
Very right. Opportunity cost is not defined as the value of proposed project selected, but it is the value of the second best option.
Second best option. Okay.
Which of the following is a financial tool that calculates the present value of all cash outflows minus the present value of all cash inflows?
Net present value.
Very nice. Okay, so we are done uh, with this comparison method, the cost benefit analysis. But although I have covered it in quite a hurry, but you see, there are not many other things to talk about. Otherwise, I would have done a lot of questions with you on that, numerical questions. But because we are not having much of time, so I leave it to you to do your own practice. Next is the concept of OKR. I hope you remember we mentioned what is a OKR before. Did we or did we not?
Objectives and key result.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now, you also remember that I mentioned that currently you might be using key performance indicators, which is a pretty good method, but OKRs is a much better mechanism because it has no, it is not coming by the whims of the boss. It is coming from the bottom up. This is directly linked with the strategic objectives of the organization. So this is properly connected with the benefit of the organization. So there are some uh, helpful hints here regarding OKRs. How do they help deliver business value? First of all, we start with the top level organizational objectives. Rather, I would say we have started with the vision and the mission and the strategic objective, organizational strategies, and then the strategic objective. Now, those strategic objectives, each one of them, have been further broken down into OKRs, key results. What are the key results of each of these objectives? If you can realize those key results, you have realized the objective. Do you agree with me? So decide your key desired results, refine further with objectives and key results. Objectives are goals and intents, whereas key results, which you have just uh, brought out of the objective, are time bound and measurable milestones. So key results are like measurable milestones. They are concrete milestones you can achieve in a specific period of time under the objectives, which are the goals and intents. So it will be serving as a fulfillment of those goals and intents. Now, there are some best practices to use OKRs, and you will be rightly amazed on some of the things. First of all, it says that you must support your objective with only 3 to 5 measurable key results. If there is only 1 or 2 key results, that is not a representative result of achievement of that objective. If there are so many, then you will never be able to achieve your objective because you have put in a lot of key results in it. So 3 to 5 is a very good figure. This is achievable. This is doable. So break every objective into 3 to 5 measurable objectives, measurable key results. Now the interesting part is it says you do not aim for 100% success. Just aim for 70% success rate to encourage competitive goal making. What does that mean? Because you are the people who are setting these objectives, and you will probably keep the targets very soft for yourself and not very challenging, and you will always be achieving 100%, which is not fair. So to set the targets harder, you should only aim for 70% success rate. So there might be some of the, out of these 3 to 5 measurable key results, 1 or 2 might be very difficult to achieve. And even if you succeed in 70%, we will consider you to be very successful. So a 100% success rate should be re-evaluated as not challenging enough, right? We don't want you to achieve 100%. We want you to achieve maximum of 70%, right? That means we cannot rely only on the team in setting of the objective, but this is more of a consultation. So it is a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. For example, you have proposed your measurable key results to your boss. It is moving upwards, and he might have corrected you. He might have told you, please reset your key results because they are not good enough. They are too easy to achieve. They do not represent everything. So this OKR approach is bottom up and top down, whereas KPI approach is only top down. Third best practice is write your OKRs that are action oriented and inspirational, right? You know, the statement of the key result should be such that it should be inspirational. It should get you moving on towards your target. It should be action oriented, and it should include concrete and measurable outcomes, as we said above. It should be measurable, properly measurable. It should not be just an approximation. You should be able to prove that you have achieved this target. I hope that explains how these OKRs can deliver business value. This is how it looks like. Your objectives are being translated into key results. Now, objectives and key results both are quantitative. Objectives are qualitative in nature. There might be a little approximation there, but key results are very, very quantifiable. They are very measurable. So key results are quantitative outcomes for the objective, what success will actually look like. Whereas the objectives are what you aspire to achieve. That is just a dream, but this is now a reality. Now, these key results in mind, we will do the action. We will design our action. That is the execution of those key results required to achieve the key results. So that is the steps we need to take. Like we identify the activities in project management which will be done to achieve certain targets. And after we have taken the action, then we look at the result. We gain the insight, the results and learnings from the period of action that will what can we do better next time. So we learn a lesson out of it. Although we are only interested in the first two parts as far as the OKRs are concerned, but when you are dealing with the project, then key results have to be converted into actions. Actions should be converted into insight, and that's how this whole flow works. The differences between KPIs and OKRs, as I have just mentioned earlier, KPIs are business metrics reflecting performance. The focus of a KPI is on the performance, is not on actual goal setting or fulfilling the objectives, organizational objectives. That is not the focus. The focus is how well are the people performing. This is more like a boss thinks. A boss thinks that people are not really capable. I must keep monitoring them. So he will say that if you don't work harder, I will write a bad report for you. So it is more reflecting the performance of an individual or a team rather than looking at the work. Whereas the OKRs are goal setting method to improve performance and drive change. So it is not focused on performance alone. It is it is ultimately resulting in improved performance, not catching the bad performance, but improving the performance and bringing the change, driving the change. KPIs sets the performance level to be achieved. Again, the same thing. Whereas objectives and key results are for the purposes of alignment, engagement, and focus. Keep everyone focused on the ultimate objective. KPIs are again for performance management and measurement, whereas OKRs, that is a specific area of improvement to focus on. That is only one direction. Improvement of performance is just one direction. It also contributes towards driving the change, to engage, to align. Key performance indicators, once set by the boss, they are usually considered to be unchangeable. And it is really very difficult to change them regularly, if at all you are allowed to change. You can complain against that KPI and you can get it changed. That would be a very difficult process. In a way, I can say that they are not really changeable. Whereas, because the OKRs are being germinated from the bottom up, so they could be reconsidered anytime and you can change your OKRs and then move them upwards for approval. So frequently set, adaptive, and track and reevaluate. KPIs monitor the steady state and provides the benchmarks. So this is just a kind of an observation. Whereas OKRs are informative. They inform everyone of what's important to achieve company's goal, meaning it is aligning everyone with the organizational strategy all the time. Everyone is hooked into the organizational strategy, the vision, the mission, the objective. And so we are properly hooked into the system. Whereas the KPI was just a monitoring mechanism. Key performance indicators were always set by the leader and they were always top down. They are not negotiable. Whereas OKRs are established by the people who will work on them, by the staff, by the worker, by the labor. They set up their OKRs and they are moving bottom up. And then the boss, the leader, has just to agree or disagree with it. So it is bottom up and the top down. So looking at that, what do you think? Uh, do you want to adopt OKRs? Maybe they are more important, more useful for you. What do you say?
So,
I
Mark,
understand because you have never used them, so it is difficult to give a decision on that. But looking at this comparison, I think that probably OKRs are much important and much better way of monitoring something. In rather not only monitoring, because monitoring is more like a KPI. It is constantly remaining in touch with the organizational strategy.
Question.
So this is just an informative thing. I just wanted to introduce you to the concept of OKR because I know you might not have been using it. Okay, what is incremental value delivery? Because we are talking about value, business value. So let us talk about incremental value delivery. Incremental value delivery is only happening where you work in small increments of time, which is usually not possible in a predictive project. In a waterfall model, you can't incrementally keep delivering something. I agree that in a predictive project where you have got phases, after every phase you may be delivering something to the customer, but that increment is too big. Maybe your phase itself is 6 months long. That is too big a time. When we say incremental development approach, that means that this is small enough, like in a couple of days or weeks, and the time is fixed for that. And after every increment or iteration, you deliver something to the customer. So if it is a 1 year long project and I am delivering after every 2 weeks, that means I will be delivering the product in 24 installments. And the interesting part is that each installment of the product is usable, right? It is usable. They don't have to wait for the end product. They can start using whatever we have delivered so far. So this is much more interesting rather than a predictive approach where the delivery is one time or a couple of times only, even if it is we are using phases. But in an incremental or iterative approach, we keep delivering consistently and continuously after equal intervals of time. So this approach enables value delivery sooner. The customer is engaged. You are continuously, in touch with the customer. You are working hand in glove with them. They they attain their value early and as soon as possible, and this results in increased market share. So customer is very happy with it if they start getting their output as soon as possible. Then it allows for partial delivery. Customer may have asked for something at the end of the project, but we are allowing a special offer that, okay, we are making this thing for you, but this much is ready. You can take it and you can start using it while we are building the rest of the project. So that way, it allows for partial delivery. Then it also enables early feedback because we are in touch with the customer every 2 weeks. If not earlier, at least every 2 weeks, we are talking to the customer, we are getting their feedback and allowing for any adjustment to the direction. They can even suggest change in requirement. In Agile, we can absorb that shock because we are only working on a small group of activities at any one time, and the other requirements are not yet started. Therefore, if customer wants to change any other requirement, which we are not working on, we welcome them. We welcome them. So enable early feedback, allowing for adjustment to the direction, priorities, and quality of the product. So changes are free in an agile project. So this is the incremental model. Probably it makes sense to you. Have you
Yes.
ever done an agile project or adaptive project? No?
No, I have not. Yeah, but
Okay.
we did trainings for agile. Yeah.
Right. Then, just like KPIs and OKRs, this is the major difference between a predictive and agile. And we'll talk more about it. But agile is beautiful. It is complete engagement with the stakeholder. Change is free. There is no change control mechanism, no change request procedure. You don't have to move a change request to the boss. Boss is not involved at all. The changes are between the customer and us, the team. That's all. Okay. So we have covered so far these objectives. We have talked about evaluation and delivery of the project benefits and value. We have talked about executing the project, the urgency required to deliver business value. So focus was on business value, which we have covered now. Before I can move on to the next topic, which is organization culture and change management, I suppose this is the right time to take a break. Is it?
Yes.
So let us have a break for 10 minutes. Do you want more?
No,
Or
no,
is it all
I'm
right?
okay to have a break.
Yes?
No, okay to have a break.
Okay, wonderful. See you after 10 minutes. Okay, we are back. We are starting new topic in the same chapter, and that is topic D about organizational culture and change management. And you will see whatever we have been discussing so far, it is going to be, falling in place. It is all joined together. We just talked about the change management, that there is no change request procedure in a agile project, whereas there is a very strict change control mechanism in a predictive or a waterfall model. Exactly those are the things we are going to talk about. First of all, organizational culture. Uh, as far as change is concerned, how does your organization take it? Do they have acceptance to change in your organization? If they do not, then probably they are not even going for any new initiative because they may be content with whatever they are. They are not revising their strategies. They are not taking up new initiatives. And in a way, I can say that they are not involved in too many projects at a time. And that is a bad sign. That is not a good sign for upward moving organization. Organizations should, and they do, embrace change as a strategy because they need to improve continuously. They need to uh, continuously improve their performance, and to improve their performance and to improve their way of working, they have to experiment with it. So they must have a change strategy. How can we bring strategy, bring change and improvement in our organization? And I told you that change can only be brought into an organization. The smallest unit is project. Projects bring change in the organizational culture. And if you have got a lot many projects going on, that means there is your organization is change oriented, and naturally to manage and control so many projects simultaneously, you may have to have a centralized office, which we call a project management office. Although project management office could have many purposes, but this could be one of the purposes, that all the projects may be reporting to it for progress report, and they are compiling those reports, consolidating them for the higher management to see the overall picture, how well all the projects are going in the organization. So PMOs build and sustain alignment between projects and the organization. They serve as a conduit where they keep all the projects aligned with the strategy of the organization. So whatever have they strategized, whatever they have thought about the future of the organization, they are actually ensuring that they are depicted through the change related initiatives like projects, programs, and portfolio. Whether your organization has a PMO or not, if you have projects running in your organization, you need to have a PMO. And if you don't have a PMO, then you yourself are a change maker. Every project manager is a change maker. So tailor your strategy to the circumstances, people, and timing. Now, because PMO is not existing in your organization, every project manager in the organization is now he or she stands responsible for tailoring a strategy to the circumstances, people, and timing. And they must choose a robust approach. So I hope you understand, you might have heard it a lot many times. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant, and especially when speaking from the strategic point of view, this is more than true. This is the only thing which happens. Well, uh, change, you can be a catalyst for change, but can you tell me? I was just need your opinion. If you don't do anything, will the change still come? Is it possible?
No.
Okay, that means human beings are responsible for the change. Is it what you want to say?
Yes.
Okay. There are many planets in which there is no life, but there is a lot of change happening there. How does that happen? There are no humans there to decide, but still the planet is changing all the time. There are not many things happening there. What
Well, the
about that?
industry is changing even if you're not doing
Change
anything.
can happen. Change is but natural. It is not man-made. But man is a catalyst for change. The change which had to happen in a million years, if there are human beings, intelligent human beings, they can make it happen in a couple of years or decades. They can accelerate the change. But if you tie the change to the human being, that is not really very true. Slow and steady change does happen. Even when there were no humans on earth, on earth, there was still change happening on earth. But now, because we are in great quantity, we are planning things, we are changing things, and that's why things which could happen in decades or millennia, they are happening quickly on daily basis. Anyways, that was just a side discussion on the change to just make you realize how important the change is. And the most important point, which I understand, is change is natural. It does happen. Whether you want it or you don't want it, change will happen. But what you can do is you can accelerate the change. Manage organization change impacts on project. Now, just look at it from the other angle. One thing was the projects were born as a result of the change strategy by the organization. You agree with that much, right? Projects were took birth out of the need for change. That is all agreed. But now there is another question. There are a number of projects running, and there is a new change in the organization which is likely to impact the ongoing projects. Now, this is interesting because organization change is a constant. This is happening all the time. Now, a new change is happening in the organization which may negatively or positively impact the ongoing project. This is something we need to be very careful about. We have to be highly flexible about it. We should be able to tailor our way of working in our project to the current changing needs of the organization. I hope you understand that. So whenever there is a change in the culture of the organization or there is an organizational change, you must assess that situation. Being a project manager, you must assess the current situation of the organization, evaluate the impact of that organizational change to your project, and determine what actions you need to take to counter that or to, take advantage of that. Then you can recommend options for changes in the project because the organization has changed. The project may also have to be changed. So you can make a recommendation that, okay, we can change the direction of the project slightly or majorly. However, we can keep ourselves aligned with the organizational change. Now, the question is, if the change is too drastic and due to the change environment of the organization, there is no need for this project at all. The need for the current ongoing project has suddenly been eliminated, right? You can't fit yourself into the new scenario. So what do you do then? What will be your recommendation?
To stop the project.
Stop the project. That would be your recommendation. That we find no way that this project can go on. We have tried our level best to adjust our objectives according to the organization, but we see that there is no need for this project because the strategic objective with which we were linked is no more valid. So the project is no more valid. So we recommend this project to be shut down abnormally, before time, and immediately. And this job, the process of assessment, evaluation, and recommendation, you must keep doing, continually monitor external business environments as if to observe any impacts to your project scope and the backlog. Even if you're doing an agile project, you don't have a proper scope, you have a backlog. Backlog serves as a scope for the agile project. So keep monitoring the business environment. You see, external business environment or external environmental factors are indicators of change in the organization. And if you can keep an eye on them, you probably can brace yourself up for the new changes. So even before a change occurs in the organization, you could have uh, observed it, assessed it, and recommended your options there. So this is both ways. Number one, the projects are born out of change, and second, the new organizational changes may affect the ongoing projects. Okay, the second thing is culture. Every organization has a different culture and way of working, right? Uh, you can't have a uniform culture everywhere in the world. Maybe in some countries, they have a similar kind of culture, but I would still say that every organization has a different culture, right? But you see, you have to, when you join an organization, you have to understand their way of working, their culture, their working style, and try to adjust yourself accordingly. You can also attempt, when you join the organization, if there are something drastically wrong with the culture of the organization, you may do some constructive opinion making and try to improve that culture. Because culture is something which should not have any negative components. Negativity in culture is not acceptable. So if there is a negativity in the culture of the organization you are joining, you may endeavor to convert that negativity into positivity. Anyways, that is another subject. But let us explore what all is included in culture and style. How do you view the leadership? What is the chain of command? Are they sitting in a, are they, sitting behind closed doors? Or there is an open door policy in the organization? That matters a lot. What is the hierarchy of the organization? Is it a deep set hierarchical model of functional organization traditionally, or it is more like a matrix or a projectile? So that will also facilitate if your project. And who holds the authority and how much authority? If it is an autocratic authority exercised in this organization, that is not really very good. That is not a good option, right? Anyways, we have to observe this. Then, what is the shared vision, belief, and expectations? Well, you will be amazed to find that in some organizations, the people don't know what is the vision of this organization, what is the mission of this organization, what are the strategic objectives. Most of the people are unaware about it. They are just working like robots. They have no emotion involved with that. A good organization should always have a vision and mission, and that must be shared. If not, if the vision is not created by the people of the organization, by the employees of the organization, even then, it must be shared with everyone as if everyone is on the same page. Their belief system should be common. Their expectations should be common. I am not saying that there should not be any difference of opinion. Difference of opinion is healthy, but there are some things which we should commonly agree, like the vision of the organization, the belief system, and the expectations. then every organization should accommodate some level of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have showed you a slide earlier about diversity, equity, and inclusion, so you do understand what that means. Accommodate all races, all kinds of people. There is nobody unequal, everybody is equal, and everybody must be included in that team, given equal rights. Risk tolerance. Now, this is interesting because every organization has a different level of risk tolerance. We cannot make it uniform. Some organizations are very brave, they are ready to take big risks, and some organizations are really very covered. They don't want to take on any initiative. They are always afraid of anything bad happening. So just judge it what type of tolerance your organization exercises, and if they and naturally you have to adopt it. But if it is a negative characteristic, probably you can later try to enhance or improve on it. The regulations, policies, procedures, that is the most important thing which any new employee is made conversant about. They are not told about the vision, mission, and strategic objective. They are not told about risk tolerance. They are just told about these are our regulations, these are our policies, and these are our procedures. You have to follow them. So I know, I understand. This comes from the culture. Code of conduct, that is advisable, that is good. If you have ethical values in your organization and a code of conduct, a code of honor, then probably that is good. That is a very good thing. And I do understand many organizations do have this kind of system in their organization. Some level of honesty, responsibility, and all those things, they are induced into the employees. Then we have got a operating environment. What kind of operating environment this organization offers? Well, if it is a very cooperative environment, if people are very friendly with each other, this is a very good operating environment. But whatever kind of operating environment you are given, you have to start working in that. And last but not the least is the motivation and reward system. I have seen organizations where there is no motivation, there is no reward. You are just an employee and you keep working. Whether you do well or not, you are just like any other employee. That is not a very good environment. There should be a motivation and reward system in every organization. We'll talk more about it. As far as the risk culture and change in organization is concerned, well, as I have already discussed, risk threshold and appetite is different. There is a diversity in it. Many organizations may have a different risk threshold, and others could have a different threshold. This also depends upon the region or the country you are located in, the industry you are serving, or the sector you are serving, or it also may depend on your leadership or your project team. They all make up the overall risk threshold or appetite of your organization. So when I talk about the organizational risk threshold, this is a cumulative effect of all the stakeholders, all the employees, everybody. These must be understood with care to establish effective approaches for initiating and planning projects. Well, risk threshold is the first thing you should understand. Because if you don't know what is acceptable to the organization, then probably you may be planning something which is beyond the acceptance level of your boss or your organization. Identify the accepted means for getting work done. Right? This will differ from organization to organization. Some people, well, I trust one thing, and that is culture can never be bad. So I have seen people in various countries who think bribery is an accepted means of getting work done, which I don't agree. Such a negative value is against the ethics, cannot be part of an organization. this could not be accepted means which is acceptable according to the ethics. So therefore, we are talking about legal accepted means for working, for getting the work done. I'm not talking about borrowing, stealing, or bribing, things like that. They are not at all accepted means. They are outrightly rejected. Okay, moving on. Now this is becoming interesting here. Now we are going to talk about a change management framework, which is called ADKAR model. This has got 5 milestones, A, D, K, A, R. A stands for awareness of the need for change. Now, as a change manager, what is your first responsibility? When you feel that something has to be changed in your organization, now this is interesting because we were just talking about the organization change, and I just said that when you join the organization, you have to join the culture and you have to work according to what the organization wants. But if there are any negative values, you may put in an effort later. For example, now is the time you are putting in an effort. There is a wrong practice, there is a bad practice in our culture, and we want to change it. So first of all, you have to do a little bit of awareness campaign amongst all the employees and all the people where you want to tell them, you want to make them aware of what is wrong, where we need a change. Now, when we make aware, you are not basically getting their consent. You are just informing them that, well, this thing is bad, this is unethical, this should not be part of our culture. So you are just making them aware. Once you have spread the awareness, the second phase is now you are pushing it harder. That is, you're trying to create a desire in them to support the change. Now you are trying to kind of cultivate them a desire that there must be a change, and they are ready to, they have a desire to support that change. Once that objective has also been achieved, the third stage is, because those people who are willing to bring the change, they are to be educated on change, how to bring the change. Maybe you have to take some classes, you have to teach them how to bring that change, what are the stages of change, how the change comes into existence. So you have to educate them. So we have gone through 3 phases: awareness, desire, and knowledge. As far as the change manager is concerned, these are the 3 things he has to do. Rest everything is the people you have prepared, you have made aware, you have cultivated a desire in them, you have provided them the knowledge. Now it is their baby to take action. They will now be able to demonstrate their newly acquired skills and behaviors regarding change management, and they will be responsible for bringing the change. I, as a change manager, will just be a motivator, just be patting them, but I have no contribution in what they are doing. I have done my contribution by the doing first 3 steps. Now the people who have been trained, they are working on it, and they are actually responsible for bringing change. So this action is the one stage where the projects happen. A, D, and K, awareness, desire, and knowledge, must have happened before start of the project. Like it could have occurred before when we were doing the business analysis, when we were trying to convince our bosses that this change can be brought, this new project can be started. So we were doing awareness, we are cultivating the desire, we were providing them the knowledge about that. And when they agree, that is the time when the project starts, and that is action time. Now, when we are done with the project, we hand over the product to whomsoever is going to take it over. But the problem is, there is a last one step which we are missing out for change management, That is reinforcement to make the change stick. You have already made aware the people, created desire, given them the knowledge. So it is highly likely that they are in favor of this change. And when you are done with your project, they will take it over and conveniently start handling it. But if you do not have many people who are in favor of this change, then probably if there's a majority of people who are not in favor of this change, then probably they will not benefit from the result of the project and they will not like to use the product of the project. Ultimately, the change will again dwindle away. So, this is one very important step to stick the change, to make the change stick. That is, after you have delivered, you provide again training and support to those people who have to run the show after the project has been delivered, and you keep reinforcing them, you keep kind of hi- providing a hyper care or maintenance, and see when they are comfortable doing using that product, only then you leave. That is providing the reinforcement. After that, you can be comfortable that people have started using the product of the project, and now they can live with it. They cannot suddenly decide no, stop using it. Right? So we have to make sure that the result of the project is properly inducted into the organization. I hope you understand this change management framework. I have tried to explain each and every step. On top of the slide, there is one quotation written: organization change requires individual change. The person who is trying to bring the change, who is trying to change the behavior of the people, he is not ready to change his own behavior. So, change, organizational change is not individual change, but it starts with the individual change. Okay. If you're okay with it, we move on to the next slide. This is a little bit more detail about the ADKAR model. I took it out from somewhere else. You see, awareness, that is generally considered to be a pre-contemplation stage in change management. When we are making people aware about things, we are doing pre-contemplation. When we are cultivating the desire, we are in the contemplation phase. When we are providing the knowledge, we are in preparation phase. And then comes the action. This is the action phase. Then is the reinforcement, which is the maintenance phase. As I said, we provide hyper care to them. We keep holding their hand until they are comfortable doing those things all by themselves. So we create a environment for them in which we feel safe with a new changed system. So first two items, awareness, desire, and knowledge, are in the enablement zone. We have not actually done any action, but we have enabled people through awareness, desire, and knowledge. And action and reinforcement is the engagement zone. Right? Okay. Then is actions to support the change. There are certain do's and don'ts which you must be very careful about. First of all, let me talk about the do's. Coach your co-workers to support the business. Patience and compassionate mentoring are the key. So when you are talking to your person, whether you are making them aware or you are trying to do other steps, but whatever you are doing, coach them with love and effort. And tell them that we are part of a bigger objective. Our organization has a vision, mission, and objective, and we have to keep ourselves aligned with that. So this has to be done with a lot of patience and compassion. Then enable an agile operating system. Now, don't take me wrong when I say agile operating system. I am not advocating that you start doing agile projects. Well, that could be done, but agile is a mindset. It is not a method. So I'm talking about the mindset right now. I'm talking about the operating system in which we are highly flexible. We are highly, adaptable. So that kind of mindset could be there in the organization that is to be enabled. So coach your team members in agile mindset to facilitate adoption of change-centered mindset. We can also call it a change-centered mindset because agile mindset is a change-centered mindset. It actually keeps itself awake to any changes and converts and uh, takes the shape of the new change. Third important thing is keep your knowledge current. If you don't, you will be left far behind. For example, we learn project management, but as the time goes on and on, new things are introduced. Right now, we are learning agile in project management, and recently the changes which are coming in the overall picture of the project management, we are seeing a greater role artificial intelligence is adopting in it. So you see, the future is going to be slightly different. The knowledge you are gaining today, you may have to update that knowledge, and that is the key. Keep your knowledge current. Keep pace with the developments going on in the world. Some things you don't have to do in change. That is, do not force the change down the throat of your employees or people. If you insist on the change, people will revolt against you. You better involve them and consult with them. That's why I said the first step is awareness. In awareness, we are not, convincing them. We are just telling them that this could be done, and that's it. When we are done with the awareness, then we slowly and steadily start cultivating the desire. Still, we are not forcing the change. You can't shortcut this process of ADCAR. You can't directly get into the action. So force change is bad. Aim to secure their buy-in to the reasons for change. That is making them aware, creating a desire, and providing them knowledge. All of that could be done, but forcing the change is wrong. Another bad thing people do is if there is an opposition, there are people who resist your idea when you're trying to make them aware, they start ignoring the resistors. They alienate the resistors, which is really very bad. Because when you alienate the resistors, you are creating an animosity with those people and you are kind of cultivating animosity. Thus, these people are going to be your biggest opponents and they will try to put in every hurdle in your way. So rather than alienating the resistors, consider these resistors to be in your loop of information. Whatever you are doing, keep them making aware, keep them sending messages, keep them meeting with a smiling face, and keep them invited in your events. That way, their reaction will be softened up, and maybe one day they will also like to convert to your process of thought. They could start supporting the change. But alienating a resistor tantamounts to disaster. It is a very bad habit. And it is a very usual thing we do that. In every culture, we do this thing. If somebody doesn't agree with us, we just take animosity to that person, stop talking to that person, and that kind of thing. This is not right. Okay, now the next topic is how do we plan for the change? Well, naturally, we said that we have to provide the knowledge for the change to the people, and only when the people are knowledgeable, the knowledge has been transferred, they have been trained, they are ready for the change-related activities. That is the time where we can start planning for the change, right? Now, before we can get this team working into action, we must first do some kind of attitudinal survey to find out how the people are feeling. We don't want to impose our teaching on them. We first want to know what is their state of mind. So these attitudinal surveys will actually inform us what kind of people may be working with us on this change. Then create an informational campaign to familiarize people with changes. That is the stage of awareness. Be open and transparent about potential effects of the change. Now, this is very important because when we are trying to market ourselves, we only tell good things about it. We don't tell what can go wrong. But here it says you should be open and transparent. You should not lie. You should be truthful. You should be open. You should be trustworthy. And whatever are the negative or positive points of that change, openly tell them to everyone. Let them make their own decision. And lastly, consider creating a rollout plan. That is the plan you create to bring out the change before the action takes place. Or you can call it the project management plan. But you see, well, this rollout plan is, as I said, the change related actions are taken actually before the project was born. So this rollout plan is not traditionally considered as a component of the project management plan. Just like business case and benefit management plan are not components of a project management plan. Because project management plan from the change management cycle is an action, right? So rollout plan is to be prepared by the business analyst. So this is how we plan for change. Next is the adoption of the ADCAR model into PMI's Bright Line Transformation Compass. PMI adopted the ADCAR model, and they created a compass which has 5 components. And these components are the North Star. You can see that. North Star statement is the one which articulates the vision and strategic objectives of the organization. That means we are aligning ourselves with our North Star, and our North Star is the vision, mission, strategic objectives of our organization. So whatever we are doing, whatever change we are trying to bring about in the organization must all be pointing towards the North Star. Then we have got a background under which we are working. The background of this compass is the customer insight and mega trends. How our customers see us and how the global mega trends are moving, because they will force us to adopt new changes in our organization if we really want to be on the cutting edge. Customer may demand certain improvements to our way of working. So this provides the basis for a change to an organization. Then within the organization, we need 2 more things. One is the volunteer champions. These are the internal volunteer champions, not external. Because if they were external, they could have been in the base category of customer insight and mega trends. They are internal volunteer champions because they are the people who has to drive the change within the organization. They are change champions from within the organization. And the other thing is, you must have a transformation operating system. Just like in our organization, we must have some process, some guideline, some SOP, how to bring changes in the organization. So that transformation operating system will be instrumental in bringing that change. So internally, we should have volunteer champions and a mechanism of bringing change, a generic mechanism of bringing change in the organization. Now, we can use ADKAR model as our needle. The needle of the compass is ADKAR model. This is named here inside out employee transformation. This is where the actual transformation is happening. This is where the ADKAR model is active. So, to align with our North Star, we apply the ADKAR model, bring the change in the organization, and still we are aligned with the vision and mission of the organization. We should not bring any change which keeps us away from the North Star. This is a compass model, and compass only points to the north, always. I hope that is quite understandable.
Yep.
Well, this topic of organizational transformation is so important that PMI has got special courses on it, and you can see the badges. If you do these courses from PMI website, you will get these badges. Actually, they charge for them. There is a foundational course, there is an implementation course, and there is an orchestration course. This is not a certification. These are badges. You earn these badges and you can display these badges with your name or your profile. But this is important. This is important. Okay. So again, this is time for a break. Can we take another 10-minute break?
Sure.
Okay. See you after 10 minutes. Welcome back. So we are done with topic D, and this is the next topic, which is about project governance. And after this, we have got one more topic that is about project compliance. These are last two topics in this chapter. So let's start with the project governance. But before I can start talking about project governance, I would like to understand if you know what is governance. What is the difference between governance and management? What do you think? Whatever is written on this slide, this is about project governance, but I am generally talking about the organizational governance. What is governance and management in an organization?
Top of mind when you say governance, controls.
Okay.
So
Give me a moment. I'll just be back. I'm sorry for the interruption. Okay, so we were talking about the definition of governance. How do you differentiate governance from management? So, what were you saying?
so governance is about controls, making sure that the organization, for example,
Okay,
follows standards.
and management?
Management.
If governance is control, then what is management?
Mm. Maybe management is how you manage those controls, or maybe work with those controls with your own
Right.
project or
So,
work.
I would say control is more oriented towards management. Management exercises the control. But governance are the people higher up there who gives you the general guideline in which direction you should generally be moving, right? The policies, procedures, guidelines, overall for the whole organization are developed by the high level strategic thinkers, and they create the governance mechanism in the organization. All the department heads and everybody in the organization is supposed to abide by them, and all the management, they will enforce the governance down to the employee level, right? So managers are the people who make it happen, who actually control the thing. And governance is consisting of those people who make the rules. I hope you understand my point. So when there is an organizational governance, that is an umbrella governance for the whole organization. All the departments must follow those governance principles. This is just like a law, right? Now, this might not be very descriptive. The governance instructions provided in the organizational governance might not be very descriptive. They may be arbitrary. they may be just, broadly outlined. But when this governance reaches a departmental head, that departmental head wants to add further clarification to the general governance provided to him by the top level management. And for example, I am managing the accounts department and I want to explain further about accounting principles remaining within the organizational governance guideline. So I can develop my departmental governance framework, and the people under me will then be enforced to follow that. The organizational governance still remains valid, but the governance provided at the departmental level for that department would also apply. Similarly, for example, at a sub-department level, there could be further explanation of the work they do. Maybe they are dealing with salaries of the employees. So certain specific principles about the salaries, they are established, and that is the governance. One more thing I want to tell you, governance is not the person who creates the governance is not the manager, right? That means if the departmental head needs a governance, the governance for department, that governance will come a level up from him, and he will manage that governance. Then the next level, this departmental head will develop the sub-departmental governance framework and provide it to all departments, and they will do their management accordingly. So it is like an umbrella effect. You have a larger umbrella of the organizational governance, and then the departmental governance, then the sub-departmental governance. And if you look at it from organizational project management perspective, we will have the organizational governance, under which we will have the portfolio governance, under which we will have the program governance, under which we will have the project governance, and every level of governance will have the management setup. That means the portfolio manager is a manager. He will not create the portfolio governance. He will get the portfolio governance from his boss. Similarly, the program manager is the manager. He is not creating the governance, but he is getting the governance from the portfolio manager, and he is managing it. Similarly, project manager is another umbrella under the program, and he is being provided the governance by the program manager, and he creates his own management frame. I hope this is quite a bit clear to you. Did I confuse you about governance and management, or did it clarify?
No, it's clear for me.
Good. Now, after having this background, I now want to focus on project governance. Because we are studying project management, so we will not talk more about program, portfolio, and departments and other things. But we do understand there is a overall organizational governance, and the project governance which has been provided to me, I am the project manager, I have been provided a project governance that does include all of the organizational governance plus specific instructions about the project, managing the project. Who is giving me the project governance? Who created the project governance framework?
My boss.
Actually, he is somebody who is senior to me, who is my boss. So who could be the boss of a project manager? It could be the sponsor, it could be the program manager, it could be the portfolio manager, or anyone who under whomsoever you come in the chain of command, that person is supposed to provide you project governance. And abiding by that governance, you will create your project management plan because you are a project manager. You are dealing with management. So you create a project management plan. But the project governance plan was created by someone else, your boss. So what is project governance? This is a framework, functions, and processes that guide project management activities to create a unique product, service, or result to meet organizational, strategic, and operational goals, right? But it did not tell you that this is part of a iterative chain of umbrellas of governance, right? Which I had already explained to you. There is the biggest umbrella is the organizational governance umbrella. Then we can have other, and now what we are talking about is the project governance. This is a small umbrella out of those big umbrellas, right? So key benefit of having a project governance is it offers a single point of accountability. Now, anything which is not in governance, that is not to be done. Simple as that. Governance must have provided guidelines about all major things. How to plan, how to do this, how to do that, what methods are allowed, what methods are not allowed, what tools can be used for what purpose. So these kind of instructions for project management has been provided by the project governance. And this governance is not meant for any one stage of the project. This applies to the whole project life cycle. Now, I do understand that governance type may differ from one organization to other, from one project to other, and it is quite valid. It is not a template. Governance is not a template that you can create a governance plan and all the projects in the future will follow that. No, this is not like that. The governance is created for every project because every project may have different needs and requirements. Therefore, the governance plan is specifically created for this project. But I don't disagree that in some cases, the project governance framework which has been established, maybe that is applicable to more than one project and you can copy it there. For example, your organization is involved in software development and software development processes are quite similar. So maybe the project governance provided to these 4 or 5 or 6 projects is the same. But for all practical purposes, I would say there is some customization required in project governance plan, as if it can address the specific project it is meant for. Anyways, this is about the project governance. Then next, what kind of project governance and how much of governance is required? Now, this is a very interesting question because if your boss gives you a governance structure which is highly restrictive, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is the plan you are to follow, these are the milestones. So if the project governance includes all the details of what I am supposed to develop, then probably I am a toothless project manager. I can't do anything on my own. I have no discretion at all. So too much governance can annoy the stakeholders. They don't feel comfortable working in an environment where they are being given dictation all the time or where they are being micromanaged. So if you provide extensive governance, that tends to be micromanagement, which is a very, very negative impact on the project. On the other hand, if you are having too relaxed a governance structure, then naturally your subordinates, the project manager and his people, they would start thinking they are not accountable to anyone. Nobody is asking questions, so we are not reporting to anyone. So it can lead to lack of stakeholder engagement or accountability. So you have to be really very careful what level of governance you should provide. Should be too much of governance, should be too less of governance. Both are dangerous. So you have to decide as a person providing the governance that what level of governance do you want. Like in the organizational governance, it doesn't talk about the details of what our department will be doing or what our project manager will be doing. It is just general instructions that we will be having our work hours from 9 to 5 p.m. Everybody, all employees, even the project manager, all have to follow that. We have an ethical policy, everybody has to follow that. We have a code of conduct, everybody has to follow that. And things like that. But as we trickle down to the next lower umbrella, we can get into a little more detail about things. And ultimately, when we get to the level of the project governance, we are providing enough information for the project manager to be comfortable in developing his own project management plan without micromanagement. Without micromanagement. Please do not ever micromanage. Micromanage is a very bad habit. This is, having a negative impact, not only on the project manager, but only on the people who are working on the project as well. So governance is typically already in place, whether you know it or you don't know it, but there is some kind of a environment, some kind of a circumstance which is there in your organization, which in a transparent way, a governance is existing, but it should be in black and white. Well, as far as the projects and programs and portfolios are concerned, maybe if there is a PMO in your organization, we can look up to the PMO to guide us on specific governance guidelines. Like, I'm not saying that PMO should establish all the lower level governances for the project programs and portfolios. I still think that that higher level boss is the one who should provide the governance. But the question is he an expert of creating the governance plans? So PMO can come into play. Program manager, when issuing a project governance plan, may consult with PMO, and PMO, because they are more educated, they're more, they know everything about the how to manage a project. So they will include specific details in it. And they will be like a consultant to the project manager or the program manager or the portfolio manager, whatever level of governance is needed. So I am not really saying that PMO develops all the governances, but I'm saying PMO assists the sponsor in developing the requisite governance, and then it is issued by the sponsor to the project. It depends on strategic importance of the project, constraints or oversight requirements, right? So naturally, if there is a restrictive environment, if you are in a war-torn zone and you are not allowed to go beyond your factory space, so naturally your movement is restricted. So if there are some restrictions, so that will have to be followed, whether you are doing a project or you are doing something else. That is a environmental condition. So critical for managing internal and external business environment changes and deviation in budget, scope, schedule, resource, or quality. So those are the things which we must take care of, which can impact our budget, scope, schedule, etc. And budget management oversight is also a key governance area which must be addressed in the governance plan. The project governance plan must include how does it address the budget management. Whomsoever is responsible for creating the project governance plan, the project governance plan would include these processes, will address these processes, may not be in a lot of detail, but at least generically. How the change in the project can be brought up, the procedure could have been explained, communications in the project, documentation, what kind of documentation are required from the project, how the decisions are to be made by the project manager or anyone in the project, how internal stakeholders are aligned with the project process requirements, review and approval of changes, what is the process for that, and what is the authority of project manager, risk and issues, they're two different things. I'll talk more about them. How are they identified? How are they escalated? How are they resolved? And if you are doing a predictive project, you might have it divided this predictive project in phases or stages. So governance tells us, can it be divided in stages or phases? And if at all, what should be the criteria? So basic criteria, it is not very dictative. It provides a guideline for aligning project governance and the organizational strategy. It talks about selecting how to select a project life cycle or development approach. Whether if the decision is in your hand as a project manager, it tells us the pros and cons of all the various approaches available, like agile, adaptive, incremental, or predictive, waterfall, hybrid, lean, whatever method of approach is available. So that allows us to make a choice amongst themselves. So that choice is made easier by the governance plan. How the internal organizational structure of project is, that is also is supposed to be, is also advised by the governance, that you should manage your team or your project in this manner. This is how must be structured. How the project success would be defined and how the deliverable acceptance criteria will be defined. There might be certain instructions on that. The relationship amongst the project team, organizational groups, and external stakeholders, how will they interact? Do they need to interact very often? Do they need to interact sometimes? Or maybe some people have to interact with others, but not with others. So this all has to be defined. Maybe you are dealing with a restricted or top secret project, and you are not supposed to be discussing it with everyone. So you are not allowed to communicate with certain people, and only with the relevant people. So whatever is the policy that comes with the project governance. So you see, these are the various processes which must be addressed in a project governance plan. And I'm not telling you a format for that, but at least you can have a fairly good idea what all could be included. Now, as far as the adaptive or agile projects are concerned, the process of governance is slightly different, because you can't have an upfront plan that this is how things can be done. In adaptive projects, things are done differently. Like, we have a very small team and they work in a very small duration. There are 2 weeks allowed for the work and there are 10 people in the team, right? So how much work these 10 people can do? So this is our one level of governance. That means how the team is going to function. Somebody from upstairs is providing us the governance structure for that, and we are planning it. Then, what if you have got more than one project team working at the same time on the same project? So we will consider that the next level of governance. Maybe there are 10 teams working. They all are considered separate projects. There are 10 projects, there are 10 Scrum Masters, there are 10 product owners, and they all are concentrated on their work, but they all must be reporting to someone. A level up, scaled up level, that scaled up level is the level which is providing governance to the individual Scrum teams. And the level above that level is providing governance for the level above us. And that normally the lowest levels are called Scrum teams. The next higher level is called Scrum of Scrum teams. Now, for that matter, if there are 10 teams in a Scrum of Scrum, then we have got this as a Scrum of Scrum team. The Scrum of Scrum includes 10 Scrum teams. And if there is yet another level, it is called Scrum of Scrum of Scrum. To make the things easier for you, if 10 Scrum Masters are reporting to the next higher level, let us put it a simple name. We call that person as a senior Scrum Master. That is the next higher level. And if there are multiple senior Scrum Masters working, they might be reporting to the another higher level, which we may call it a chief scrum master. Similarly, for all the product owners, we will have a senior product owner at the next level and a senior or chief product owner at the top level. Every next upper level will provide the governance to the lower level. You understand my point here? So things are slightly different because we are not providing the governance for the whole project, but we are providing for the team, right? So that is the difference as far as the adaptive projects are concerned. So they can document outputs and expectations. They can provide a clear view of project status from defined iterations, sprint expectations, outputs. They also can give you the guidance how the releases are tied with the specific dates, because you might have to deliver certain things on certain dates, and that deliverable is tied to a release date. So we have to comply with that, even if we are doing a project in an adaptive manner, but still we have to, we are restricted. This is a condition that we have to release. Real-time monitoring of project output through daily stand-up. Now, the daily stand-up, you might be aware, in Agile is a 10 to 15-minute meeting at the end of the day where all of the team members, the Scrum team, stands together, stands, not sit down. This is a stand-up meeting. So they stand together and quickly give the update what they have done and what they will do tomorrow. That's about it. In just 10 or 15 minutes, they have to coordinate and then leave for their homes. Whatever impediments or obstacles they have, the problems they are facing, they can inform the Scrum Master, and before they come on job next morning, all those problems will stand resolved. Project manager will make sure, the Scrum Master will make sure that those problems are removed as if the efficiency of team is not impacted. Because adaptive or agile is an iterative approach, it enables quicker and less costly identification of value-based outputs than predictive. In predictive, we have to spend a handsome money in planning. Even in planning, you could have hired consultants and this and that. This could be expensive, but planning iteration, we don't need a lot of resources. We don't need a lot of expertise. Our team members are the experts. They will do it quickly and without any extra cost. So it is adaptive is better from this point as well. So governance of adaptive is slightly different. Otherwise, it could be covered under the overall project governance. Then the idea of a governance board, the people who are the next higher level, like it could be the sponsor, it could be your boss, or if the initiative you are undertaking is very sensitive, it could have a complete governance board. By means that naturally the sponsor of the project is part of the governance board, but there are other key stakeholders who help make decisions about governance issues or about the project issues. The matters which are escalated to them, like the risks and issues and all, they are the people who decide the fate of that. And then if there is any change request, especially in the predictive project, the fate of that change request is also decided by them. Now, these three terms, governance board, project board, or steering committee, they are interchangeable, but in some organizations, you may have them separately with separate roles assigned to them. But generally, for a small project or a short project, probably all of these roles are actually performing, are doing the same job. So you could have either a governance board or a project board or a steering committee. They are one and the same thing. So what is the role of the governance board? So naturally, if it is a governance board, it is supposed to provide the governance to the project manager, definitely. It provides project oversight while the project is going on. They keep an eye on the project. They provide KPIs for the project. may include project sponsors, senior managers, and the PMO resources. It may be responsible for reviewing the key deliverables and providing guidance for project decisions. And if it is an agile project, then we could have the concept of Scrum of Scrums and Scrum of Scrums of Scrums, right? The scaling model. But this philosophy of Scrum and scaling model has been coined by another organization, which is called SAFE. You might have heard about SAFE. SAFE means Scaled Agile Framework. E stands for enterprise. Scaled Agile Framework. This is a more refined framework, but I would say Scrum is a Scrum of Scrum. That framework is simple to execute, easy to understand. SAFE is a little bit difficult. It has got a lot many complications in it, but it is a very comprehensive model. But anyways, this is very famous nowadays worldwide, and we are having certifications for SAFE. But at the same time, this scaling model is not owned by the SAFE or Scrum, but all kinds of agile methods do have an accommodation for scaling. Some call it Scrum of Scrum, some call it something else, some call it a scaled model, whatever they want to call it. But this concept of Scrum of Scrum or scaled agile already exists in agile world. Okay. Now a little bit about how the governance defines escalation procedures. What is to be escalated to the governance level? So basically, if you look at the problem and the authority, if the problem is simple to understand and within the authority of the team, naturally, project management team can make their own decisions. As the complication of the problem increases and the authority which can allow for that also increases, that goes out of the hand of project manager or the team, and they have to seek guidance from the next higher level. That could be the governance board or the project board, right? So the responsible stakeholders which are sitting in the governance board, they will make the decisions on those escalated matters. What are those escalated matters? They could be, issues regarding what do you call it? The risk escalations and issue escalations and change requests and any other changes in the project. So anything which is outside of the control of the project team to make their own decision, they have to be escalated to the next higher level. And that next higher level is governance board or the project board or the steering committee, whatever you want to call it. Governance and life cycles. Well, as you understand, broadly speaking, there are two extremes, which I have already explained. We have a predictive method, and on the other hand, we have an agile method. The interesting thing is the value delivery in a predictive project, predict value delivery as product of life cycle. So that means as the life cycle of a predictive project comes to a completion, the value is delivered at the end of it. Either it is the value is being delivered at the end of the whole project, or it is happening at the end of each phase. But it is dependent on the life cycle. Whereas value delivery in an agile project is embedded into the life cycle. While the project life cycle is going on, there is a trickle effect of value delivery. We are consistently and continuously delivering value after a consistent gap, like after every 2 weeks, after every iteration, we are delivering something to the customer. So governance system works alongside the value delivery system. That is the project life cycle. And this I have explained to you how it happens in the predictive and how it happens in an agile project. So what are the governance checkpoints for both kinds of cases? In predictive, we have split our project into phases or in UK people call it stages, right? So this is one and the same thing. They're not two different things. So they call stages in UK, and in America they call it phases. So split work into phases, and then every phase is like a mini project. So every phase might have its own life cycle. That means when a phase ends, it delivers something. Because delivery of a predictive project is based on the life cycle. If the life cycle is of the phase, the delivery is at the end of the phase. If there are no phases, then we have the whole project, and the life cycle is for the duration of the whole project, and the ultimate delivery will happen at the end of the project. When a phase ends and we deliver something to the customer, before that, the governance board comes in. They inspects everything and checks everything that whatever you are supposed to do, we have done it. Deliverable is ready to be handed over to the customer. If they have no other observation, they will allow us to move to the next phase. This is called a phase gate. This is a bottleneck. This is also called a kill point, or a governance gate, or a kill gate, or a toll gate. There are so many names for it, because you will not be allowed to pass on to the next phase until you are allowed by the governance. So this is a governance checkpoint. Then at this governance point, what is decided? Whether you can go on to the next phase, or you have to go back and correct the mistakes and come back and again pass through this gate. Or maybe you have done all right, but we do not need to run the project anymore. So let's end the project abnormally. That could also be a condition. The predictive project can be closed abnormally if the need for the project does not exist anymore. This is how a predictive project works. In Agile, something closest to the phases is called releases. So our Agile project is split into releases, but releases are not phases. Phase actually includes the work. Release is actually a point where a specific product is to be delivered to the customer. So while we sign a contract with our contractor or with our customer, they have specified certain release points where they want something to be handed over to them. So the only purpose of having these releases is the delivery of those items, not the work. It doesn't deal with the work. Releases has nothing to do with the work, but naturally the closest equivalent to phase in adaptive is called a release. In predictive, we saw that phases are so important that we were trying to do an audit. We are creating a bottleneck here because release is not important. In Agile, release is not, to be, it is not important from the point of view of consistent delivery. So we are more concerned about iteration. We do deliver after every iteration, means after every 2 weeks. So there is no fun in following the releases. So our iterations will ensure that whatever is to be released on a release point, that must have been created before that. And automatically on the release date, those things will be released to the customer. So again, I would say review results at the end of iteration rather than on the phase gate. So this is the difference between predictive and adaptive. Then it gathers the feedback continuously because it is interacting with the customer and the stakeholder, and it's a continuous feedback going on. So this continuous feedback is about the product from the customer, and then we are also doing some brainstorming at the end of every iteration. The team gets into a lessons learned exercise, which we call retrospective, where they discuss what went wrong and what went right, and how can we improve our way of working in the next iteration. So there is a lot of feedback, there is a lot of learning happening in an agile project, whereas the learning happens in predictive project at the end of it. And when the project is ending, we conclude some lessons learned and submit them to the archives. That is not of any use to the current project. But these lessons learned are retrospective in Agile are very useful for running the current project. And we continue until the customer acceptance criteria is achieved, definition done is completed, or minimum viable product is achieved. I suppose I have not shown you a video of that. If there is a video which we will see later. Question here: predictive projects are plan driven, while adaptive projects focus on team collaboration with stakeholders or customers to determine the project needs by writing user stories, and hybrid projects can combine or switch predictive and adaptive approaches as necessary. Is this statement looks all right to you? Yay or nay?
True.
Yay.
Yay?
Yay.
You are right. This is a very right statement. Predictive projects are run in a plan-driven approach. Agile projects are run in a change-driven approach, and hybrid is a combination of them both. Okay, this is just explaining the various phases of the project, right? Like in a predictive project, we have phases. When a phase ends, the next phase cannot be started immediately. The project board has to come in, inspect what we have done, and then they will allow us to move on. Either they will allow us, or they can send us back, or they can abnormally culminate the project. Apply governance to predictive project management. When do you apply that? This is important slide because there might be a question on it. At the beginning of a phase, we verify and validate the project assumptions. At the beginning, just remember it. At the beginning of a phase, when we start a phase in a predictive project, before starting the phase, we verify and validate all the project assumptions are still correct. We analyze the risks. We provide detailed explanation of phase deliverables. Only then we can get into the working of the phase. When we end the phase, key deliverables will be produced and we will review to ensure completeness and acceptance. That is going to happen in the beginning and end of every phase. Just remember that there might be a question in the exam on this point. Another question: in a multi-phase project, which two of the following terms refers to decisions to continue with the next phase or to end the project? What have we studied just now? I did talk about some kind of gateways. What are they called? Two of them
AB.
are correct. What are you waiting for? It's simple.
Ah, AB.
A
I
and
was
B.
A and
yeah.
B, that's it. Okay, we are done with governance. And next topic is compliance, but because there is less time left for covering it in the next 10 minutes, so I would rather like to take your questions and then end the session. We can deal with the compliance in the next class. So do you have any questions so far?
And if you can go back a little bit on the
Go back.
brown 3 slides before. Sorry, because I'm trying to write some
Which one?
note. This one, I'm just trying to capture.
This one?
No. After that, there.
This one?
Yeah, I think I was able
This
to.
and this.
At the
At the beginning of a phase, we have to do certain checks. At the end of the phase, we have to ensure that deliverables are produced.
Mhm.
And acceptance criteria has been achieved.
Okay.
But this is all only for the predictive project. Agile is different.
I think no questions on this one. But if you remember yesterday, we asked about tomorrow being a holiday. So with that, Suhail, may I know if you are available June 20? That's a
I
Friday.
am available on June 20, but what about our schedule? Yeah, you were saying that you are having a close holiday?
Yes, so holiday tomorrow, June 12. So meaning we will not be able to attend.
Okay.
So meaning we need to reschedule one class, right?
Okay, let me see the calendar. Uh, Today is 11th. You are not available on tomorrow.
Correct.
Can you make it on Friday or Saturday or Sunday?
For this week, no. So we are thinking, is it
Not this
possible
week. Okay.
next week?
Next week, you are suggesting 20th, right?
Yes. Correct.
20th is Friday, but
Correct.
I have a problem with Friday because Friday is at prayer time and I am busy from 12 to 3 in my time, exactly the time of the class. So I
Okay.
can take your class after that, but not at this time.
Hmm. What are your thoughts, Arman?
On Saturday, I am available, no problem. On Sunday, I am available in 21 or 22nd. But I know that is again your holiday.
I can take so 3 hours after, right? I mean, it's going to be 6 to 9.
6 to 9 p.m.
After
Manila.
what?
No. So we were just talking, Suhail, that 20th after this, right? I mean, basically it's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in our time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I,
okay with that, Mark. I
I'm
don't know
okay.
about you. Yeah.
Well, I'm okay
So
with that.
can you I don't know why I can't hear you very clearly. So if it is fine, you can please write it down in the chat window. What are you suggesting? What dates are you suggesting?
I'll write Arman.
Okay.
June
Yeah.
20, Friday, 6 p.m. to 9
I
p.m.
suppose you can hear me very clearly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
June 20th, Friday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Your time is
It's
you are
almost
in
6.
Philippines, huh? Right?
Can you repeat?
You are you are in which country? Philippines,
Philippines. Yeah.
Philippines.
Manila,
Yeah.
Yes,
Manila.
Manila.
right? So your time is 3 hours behind me. So if you are saying 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. my time, right?
Yes.
I am
Yes,
okay with
correct.
that. I am
Yes.
okay with that. On 20th of June, I will shift the class from the current time to this time, right?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
are not having class tomorrow. We
Yep.
are having an
Yes.
extra class on that day.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and see you not tomorrow, but on Monday, right?
Monday. Yes.
See
Correct.
you on Monday.
Thank
Yep.
Thank
you.
See
Thank
you on
you very
you.
much,
Monday.
and
Thank you
take
so
care.
much, Sahil.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.